We are really excited to dive into toe gripping. What is it? When should it be happening? When should I be concerned? This is a question we get so often from parents. Why is my kid curling their toes?
Let's talk about it.
So, kids are often gripping their toes, and what that means is they're curling their toes, they're really gripping into the floor when they learn a new skill. You may see this with rolling, crawling, walking, standing, jumping, running, stairs, all the new skills. This is how their bodies so smartly accommodate when they're learning a new skill until they master it. I just love how kids' bodies are so smart. So you will often see toe gripping as a child is learning a new skill, and we would expect that to maybe start to go away within 1 to 2 months of learning a new skill. Once they are not needing support anymore, they've been practicing for a while. When are you concerned about it?
So toe gripping is kind of this like kickstand action, right, of a bicycle. It's a support to help the child to do this skill. And that's great and needed and part of the process. But when it is ongoing for too long, that's when the child's body has not yet mastered the skill. And that's why we're concerned. We want the muscular tone, strength, coordination, their body to be able to master the skill so that they can move on to the next building block of childhood and whatever skill that they're at. And so when we see toe gripping go beyond that 1 to 2 week time period, kind of depending on if they're
1 to 2 months. You're good.
Sorry. 1 to 2 weeks, 1 to 2 months. We want that to start to evolve into a skill when they're not having that. We want the building block to help propel them into the next stage of childhood, the next skill, whatever that is, whatever age they're at. And so that's when we're concerned. And why are we concerned about that? Why are we concerned about the toes? Because it seems so minuscule, right? It's a tiny part of the body, and if it's gripping into the floor, why does that matter?
Yeah, especially for toileting, which we know you're here to learn about. So as the toes are gripping, we are starting to cue in to that can lead to pelvic floor tension and tightness. So maybe your child is struggling with constipation. That could be overflow from toe gripping, but it also might tell us that your child has some weakness in their hips or their core, and so they're using their toes to really be able to do the task. They want to be able to go up and down the stairs. They need to be able to, and so they're using their toes to compensate for weakness elsewhere, and that weakness elsewhere can lead to the pelvic floor compensating as well, and that tension does not allow for pee and poop to fully exit because the muscles are so tight in the pelvis. So that is why it matters to us.
It's really a matter of habit. And so if the toes are gripping on and then the pelvic floor is also gripping on a few times a day, that might not be a huge challenge. But if it's happening all the time, the pelvic floor is tight all the time because your child is struggling to master these skills, that chronic habitual pelvic floor that's tight all day, every day, is going to be really hard to then relax that pelvic floor to let pee and poop out. And so the pelvic floor should turn on and off, and we want it to, but when it's turned on all the time, that's when it can cause some challenges related to toileting health. Yeah. So let's think about what would you then do about it.
Yeah. So some of the things that we love to do is, it sounds simple, but reminding your child to relax their toes. So in activities that you find that they're really gripping, maybe they're doing handwriting and sitting, but their toes are curling. And so reminding them, hey, relax your toes while you do this. That can be a simple cue. We don't want to nag them all the time about it, but simply reminding them here and there can be helpful for them to recognize that they're doing it. Some other things that we love to do with kids and often send home with them is to pick things up with your toes and then drop it. So this can be pom-poms, balls, squigs, crayons, whatever you have at home, starting to get them to squeeze really tight and then also release and relax.
I think another really simple one is on the toilet. And no matter what age your child is, you don't have to be in there with them. If it's an older child, you can talk about it. But just the concept of your feet are flat, your feet are relaxed, your toes are relaxed. So using a stool and getting their feet flat and reminding them, even if they're 10 years old, hey, the next time you go to the bathroom, remember, keep your toes turned off, and that helps your pelvic floor to stay relaxed, which helps all of the pee and poop come out. And when it all comes out, you get less leaks because it's all coming out into the toilet.
And often it'll help it come out faster. So kids who are like, this is boring, I don't want to sit on the toilet, this is taking too long, this can be a cue that can really help them.
Yeah. We hope this was helpful for you today.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.